right, welcome to our corporate overview. My name is Sarah Reinecke, and this is my co-host, partner in crime in all things, sometimes therapist, work wife, friend, running buddy, all the things, Jamie Susie. I live in Southwest Missouri, 3 kids, 19, who's not really a kid anymore, 14 and 10, teacher by trade. I taught school for 16 years. I guess, and I landed in a direct sales company that did me really well. Loved every second.
Sarah, I think you muted, maybe.
Yeah, I got mute hammered. Oh no.
Somebody muted you.
Anyway, Sarah Reinecke, Southwest Missouri, 3 kids, 19, 14, 10, teacher by trade. It's been a while now since I've been teaching, but that was my big old chapter 1. Loved the kids, loved the impact, didn't love the paycheck. Went into a direct sales company for extra cash, ended up taking me all over the world and was awesome to me, but knew it wasn't my last gear. I had something left in me. And that company taught me that I could dream bigger, I could do more, I could own my own business, I could own my time, which was important. And then I became a business coach. Went out and got trained to be a business coach. Gosh, when was that? March of 19, something like that. Yeah. And that's actually where I met Jamie. We met at business coaching school out in Utah. We were in that same company together for 6 years, but didn't know each other. We actually even earned a trip to Maui together and spent a week at the same hotel and didn't know each other. It's so sad to think about that. But we met at coaching school, and I'll tell you how we fell in love, which was with accountability. We built that together. We figured out pretty quickly that if we said we're both going to read 3 chapters out of whatever book, we both did it, and we respected each other in that way. So when this came along in March of 2020 for me, it checked off all the boxes for me. I knew I had another gear left in me. I thought, is it real estate? Is it mortgage? Thought about State Farm. Because I looked at State Farm, a friend of mine said, if you're looking at insurance, you should look at this, and those famous words. And I said, well, what do I have to lose by listening? And I dug into this and I researched it for 2 weeks, probably. Didn't tell really anyone that I was doing that. I just had a lot of questions, and I wanted to make sure it was my final stop. So some of you on here maybe are looking for your next thing or your next opportunity, your final stop. I mean, I was 43. I wanted this to be my road to retirement. And wanted to make sure it was the right spot for me. It did check off all the boxes, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But I knew I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted someone to study with and to take my test with and to build this thing with. And I called number 1 draft pick, Jamie Susie. And I think my entire business proposition to you was something like, hey, I think you should come sell insurance with me. I think it's going to be fun. Something like that. And you're like, okay, something like that, right? So, Jamie, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, that was the extent of your prospecting to me. It was a Facebook message like 9 o'clock at night. Hey, I think we're going to go do this thing. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Sure. Guys, thanks for joining us. I'm Jamie Susie. I am in Phoenix, Arizona right now. I'm originally from Boston. My first chapter was as a registered nurse. I worked for almost 12 years in the cardiac intensive care unit. I took care of babies who were born with or who had acquired heart disease. And I thought I was going to do it forever. I was passionate about it, loved it, but I worked nights, weekends, 12-hour shifts. It got really, I'd say, tiring working holidays, especially when I had kids of my own. And I ended up finding that direct selling channel that same company that Sarah was in back in 2014. And I learned quickly the power of passive income. I learned what it's like to own your own schedule and have that kind of time flexibility and just freedom to make choices of what you want to do with your life. And I'm like, I'm never going to do anything outside of something that has passive income ever again. That company replaced my income as a nurse in 2 years. So I walked away from the bedside and continued to build that for 2 years. I ended up going through a divorce at the end of 2016, which moved me from Boston to Phoenix, Arizona, early 2017. My mom had lived out here, and she said, Jamie, the sun shines every day. You have a virtual business. Why don't you come live here where It's just a different way of living. The food's not as good, but at least you can live outdoors most of the year. So I did. And in 2017, I met my now and forever last husband, Corey. We got married in 2019. But combined, we have 4 kids. I have a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 17-month-old. She just turned 18 months yesterday. 4th kid, you kind of lose track of how many weeks or how many months old they are. But just super grateful that Sarah sent me that message. It was March of 2020. The pandemic had just hit. I was 5 months pregnant. We had gone through business coaching school together and had a few coaching clients, but just learned that the lead generation was on us. We had to go out and find our coaching clients, and it's just not something that was going to bring me long-term passive income like I'd fallen in love with. And this was just that last stop. I didn't know it at the time. I just have this thing called FOMO. So I have this fear of missing out, and I didn't want Sarah to go get rich without me. I know she'd been successful in her previous company, and I'm like, I'm just not going to miss out on this boat. So super grateful. You guys will soon hear why. We'll share some slides with you about just who we are, where we've come from, where we're going, and why now it's an awesome time to be part of this company. So we will share that with you guys. And then at the very end, we'll be here 45 minutes. We're pretty good on timing. And we'll stay on for some questions after if you guys have any that you want to come with.
And thank you all for coming. And by the way, if you have questions throughout, we do have some agents that are on here that would be able to answer any questions in chat. So if you've got something that pops up, just throw it in chat. They might be able to answer or hold it to the very end. And hopefully after watching this, you'll see if this is a good fit for you. We get it that it's not for everyone. We think it's pretty special, but just kind of be keeping that in mind. When I say it checked off the boxes for me, this was it. I realized pretty quickly that we had the ability to work for ourselves, but not by ourselves. Building that coaching company, I had Jamie, but it was lonely. You know, just us. I missed being a part of a team, part of a movement, part of something bigger than myself. So I love that aspect here. It's a turnkey business model. I did not have the capital to go start a Chick-fil-A or a Cane's, you know, then 3 million, 1 million out of pocket. This is something for the price of a license and your pre-licensing. You can start this business, but there is a system and a model in place that you get to plug into. The culture is something that you've never seen. If you, those of you that are already agents are nodding their heads because it's something that is just so special. And we noticed that quickly. Jamie and I hopped on calls before we had really gotten started. And we noticed quickly that so many people were on all the calls and they were all smiling. They were present. They were happy to be there. We're like, something is interesting here. Something is really interesting here. Next, I was a teacher. I got paid the same as that guy across the hall that put forth 0 effort. And that drove me crazy. So I vowed from then on that I would have that ball in my court, that the harder I worked, the more I would get paid. So there is no cap on your income. You can make as much as you want here. One of the key things here is the time and money freedom. It's our best value proposition that we offer. There's other ways to have money freedom. If you know, maybe you do hair, you can make a lot of money if you work a ton of hours, or maybe you're a doctor or a lawyer, you're working a ton of hours, working on those weekends. You might have time freedom, but not money freedom, and vice versa. Here, if you do it right and you do it the right way, you can earn time and money freedom. And we just had a friend speak on our huddle earlier today, and she was a perfect example of what that can look like here after 3 or 4 years. The support that you're going to get from your home office and from us, you'll be very happy with. And something else that I didn't realize about the insurance industry is it's a recession-resistant industry. It's been around for hundreds of years. We thrived, this industry thrived through the Great Depression, through COVID, through the Spanish flu, through all the things. And in fact, all of those situations lead to more mortality questions than ever before. That was another reason I felt very comfortable here. So, and then last but not least, it is meaningful and impactful work. What we do is so, so important. And I could give you 100 examples right now, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. But because when I get teary-eyed thinking about it, what we do is important. And we have so many agents on our team that have been hit personally by life insurance or not having life insurance in situations that popped up. We never forget how important what we do is.
So who is Symmetry Financial? I'll share with you guys these three guys over on the right, Brandon Ellison, Brian Pope, and Casey Watkins. They have a ton of insurance experience. Casey and Brandon actually worked in the same company prior to starting this company, and they were friends with Brian Pope. Brian comes from years of insurance experience, but he has the relational capital. He knows a ton of people. So they came together in 2009, it was October, and founded Symmetry. They wanted to create a company with a really special culture, which they have done by far, and really give back to the agents. I heard this today. I was talking to one of my mentors, Jacob Hogue, and he said, you know, Jamie, they used to be called the owners. Brandon, Brian, and Casey were owners, and they changed their name to founders because they didn't want to be called that. I just think it's really special that their goal is just to give as much back to us as agents as opposed to them taking all the money at the top. So really special, these three guys are.
Whenever I think about what we do and why it's so important, you know, one example that jumps out at me is that I had a friend of mine reach out to me and say, hey, Sarah, he actually has stage 4 colon cancer, and he's not that much older than me. And he reached out to me and said, I want to tell you my life insurance story. Can we meet for coffee? And I was like, please, Lord, let him tell me that he has something, right? Because I knew I couldn't offer him anything at this point. We met for coffee, and he said, I do have a policy. He said, I bought a big one from a friend of mine. It was actually a former student that reached out to him, and he thought, you know what? I like this kid. I'm going to go ahead and get this policy. He goes, I did not do it because I thought I needed it. I did it because I liked the kid that reached out to me. And he said, but I think I lay my head on my pillow every night, and I know that my legacy is intact. He said, if something happens to me, when something happens to me, my kids can go to the college they want to go to. My wife can stay in her home, and they're not going to be burdened, right? So he said, I think all the time about what life would be like if I wouldn't have got that policy, when he lays his head on his pillow at night. So I just never forgot about that. And I love that he uses the words, my legacy is intact. And that's what we do. We make sure that people's families are covered and that their legacies are intact, because we never ever think it will happen to us, right? So that's just one example of many that we could talk about, but man, these conversations are important, and we get paid to have difficult and important conversations with people.
So how do we do it? We really get to protect people throughout their life's journey. You can get an insurance policy as young as 13 days and as old as 90. It's pretty cool. These are some of the products that we offer. The life portion over on the left, so mortgage protection, it's really the bread and butter of our company. Mortgage protection is not a product, it is a concept. Our goal is to help clients protect oftentimes their biggest asset, which is their home. And we do that with a term, universal, or whole life policy. So if the breadwinner were to pass away, that the other people could remain in that home. That's what mortgage protection is. We also offer final expense and accidental death coverage. And then in the health category, you do need a life and health license. We offer disability insurance, critical illness. That's the cancer, heart attack, and stroke policy. It's actually a living benefit. So if cancer runs in your family, or heart attack or stroke runs in your family, you can get coverage in place that if diagnosed, the insurance company will pay you a lump sum. Awesome. We also do Medicare, long-term care, and then dental. And then over on the right, where it says wealth, we do what's called debt-free life. This is a plan that is a whole life policy that will accumulate cash value that you can use over time to pay off debt. And in most cases, will pay off your debt, including your mortgage, in 9 years or less. I have a plan like this on us, on my family, because it's just so important, and how that cash grows is pretty amazing. We also write annuities, index universal life policies. And the cool thing is, I know you see a lot of different products that we offer. It may look like a lot to you. Mortgage protection is our bread and butter, which is the term, universal, and whole. And then you may find some other policies that you love to offer to clients, but you don't have to be an expert in every one of them, including the annuities or long-term care or Medicare. We have people that will help with those types of products. So we want to get really good at mortgage protection before we branch out to anything else. We partner with over 30 of the top rated insurance carriers, some of which you see here. Mutual of Omaha has been in business for over 110 years. National Life Group, that's a company that was actually helping clients that had drowned on the Titanic. So that company's been around for a while. But I love that we get to work with these companies who do what they say they're going to do. They pay their insurance claims. They're not small mom and pop companies. They're really those top rated carriers. And we get to be the sales agents for them. We get to go out and sell their products.
Is there a need for our products? Absolutely. Again, I came into this not having any experience with life insurance, but our bread and butter is mortgage protection, and 7 out of 10 households rely on 2 incomes, meaning, 7 out of 10 households, it took 2 people to qualify for that loan, right? So whenever you realize that and you think, oh man, okay, so 53% of foreclosures are caused by death or disability, because they don't think about if something happened to Jack or Jill when it took Jack and Jill to get that mortgage, they lose that income. And so the 2 biggest assets that we most likely have is our mortgage, our home, and our ability to bring in an income, right? So when one of those is gone, that's where those foreclosures happen. So we want to make sure when people purchase a house that they have a policy big enough that if something happened to Jack or Jill, they'd be able to pay it off and be able to stay in that home, because that's ultimately what they wanted to do, right? And 45% of Americans have nothing saved for retirement, which is frightening. And the average funeral costs $9,000. I think that's actually conservative. When I first started this, I met with one of our local funeral directors and I said, what does it cost? Luckily, I've never had to pay for a funeral yet. And he said 10 to 20 whenever you get through all the things. So, and so many people don't have that saved up and ready to go, which causes big divisions in families all the time. And guys, one of the things, we made this decision March 1st of 2020, and the business model of Symmetry for 11 years was they purchase leads on Thursday and Friday. They go into homes on Monday and Tuesday. They would drive to people's homes an hour away, 2 hours away, 45 minutes away, go into their home, sit in their dining room table to cover their families. I actually made the decision. I can do this. I can go to people's homes. I can drive. Jamie was leery about it. She was actually pregnant at the time. I don't know if she would still be here if that was the case. But in March, obviously we know what happened, March of 2020. And they couldn't go into people's homes, and their entire business model was blown to smithereens overnight. Remember that weird feeling? I remember when NBA shut down. I'm like, okay, what is happening? But here's what was interesting. We watched the founders lean into this as opposed to fighting it. Some other companies were like, no, we'll wait. We'll get back into homes. They're like, you know what? Overnight, we had Zoom training. We had telesales training, and nobody panicked. Nobody cried. They leaned into the situation they were in. They're like, this is just how we're going to do it. We're going to sell insurance over Zoom. And if somebody would have told us that 5 years ago, no one would have believed that that was what could happen, but it's exactly what happened. We ended 2020, 85% of our sales were virtual. The reason I bring that up now, the other thing that dawned on Jamie and I were like, wait a second. Okay. Obviously this is a terrible situation, but more people, you probably can agree, we're sitting at the table going, what if something did happen to you? Do we have a policy? Where is that file? Those conversations were happening with parents, with each other. We also saw people leaving their jobs or losing their jobs. We're like, okay, we have jobs. We have life insurance policies to offer them. And then the people that lost their jobs also lost a lot of benefits. And we have a lot of policies to offer them that can take care of those benefits. We're like, you know what, this might be a really good time as they're pivoting into this virtual world to lean into this company. So post-COVID, the life insurance industry as a whole is up 8%. And we saw that coming. We had that conversation. We're like, I think this is a good time to be looking into this industry. It's always been stable, but it's just growing right now more than ever.
I'm just glad you did the research on it, because I was in, whatever it was.
Me too. This is I have a lot of favorite slides. This is one that I love so much because it just reminds me of how proud I am to work for this company. When I say hockey stick growth, this is what I'm talking about. Those 3 founders started this in 2009, and they finished that year literally driving around their own 3 cars to people's homes. They finished at 307,000, and I'm sure they were tickled pink at that. And they have grown over time and look at that bar in 2020. this is what I love about it. What I just told you happened in March of 2020. Their entire business model, all those blue bars were buy leads on Thursday, Friday, go into people's homes on Monday, Tuesday, business model, all of them. That was blown to smithereens right there in March of 2020. They pivot into virtual and we grew to 162 million that year. I mean, it's phenomenal. So I felt like we're part of something really special. And I will tell you, in 2021, we ended at 205 million. So grew again. We're on pace here in 2022 to be well over $350 million. We heard just the other day from someone, it was Todd at corporate office, was talking about there's a plan within the next 10 years for this to be a $10 billion company. Someone's going to fill that space. Someone's going to be a part of it. They're going to have to get a bigger chart for where they're headed. I am super excited and proud to help those three founders that Jamie introduced you to grow this thing to a $10 billion company. I have no doubt. And when you look at the industry as a whole, it's a $2.35 billion industry, just life, not counting annuities, not counting all the others that Jamie mentioned. And we just finished at 205 million. So there's plenty of room in the industry. It's just such a great place to be.
So how do we find our clients? When Sarah and I were business coaching or working in that direct sales channel, we did not have leads. It just wasn't a thing. So that was one of our just most exciting things to come here and have a system in place and have clients that were out there that had requested information on the products we offered. Like, that is so exciting. Symmetry generates over 15,000 leads every week. And what is a lead? I talked about this a little bit before about mortgage protection being kind of our bread and butter of our company. When somebody closes on a loan or refinances their home, they get a postcard in the mail or a letter. If you've ever closed on a home, you know what I'm talking about. It's a letter that comes in, it says urgent on it, or it's a pink postcard or a yellow or a blue. They send several different notices. And you fill that out. It says on the postcard, protect your loan if you die or become disabled. And then there's a little clause about critical illness, that cancer, heart, and stroke policy that I mentioned before too. So they fill those out and send them back into the company. And then we as agents have access to go in and purchase those leads. So we can literally write our own production. We have people that are requesting that information. So of the 15,000 new leads that are generated every week, and Sarah and I were talking about this, think about all the junk mail that you get all the time. When you see those, do you always fill them out? I don't, but 15,000 people do. So that's very exciting for us that we have these people out there that are waiting for us to call. And then on average, 3,000 new leads are added to that inventory each week after the 15,000 are distributed to several agents that have already called on them. And the cool thing too, other companies that have a lead program want to make money. They make revenue off of their lead program. Our company subsidizes this lead program and actually took a $9 million hit last year. So again, these founders are not looking to make money off this plan. They want us to have access to this and spend our time selling these products as opposed to going out and prospecting and doing our own lead generation. The leads that we do have, again, mortgage protection. We have debt-free life leads. That's that whole life program that can pay off all your debt, including your mortgage, in 9 years or less. We also have recruiting leads. So those are people out there looking for a new career opportunity. They can go on a website, fill out a form, and we as agents can call and interview them for our agencies. And there's also life insurance leads. These founders are just such visionaries with what's coming down the pipeline. It's so exciting for us as agents to be able to build this thing, especially on this virtual platform. And one more really exciting thing about leads, because we're virtual, Sarah said we used to go kneecap to kneecap. I'm grateful that we are what I call COVID babies in this industry, because I've had one in-home appointment ever. I sold it. It was great, but I don't want to do that all the time. So I get to work from home in my home office with yoga pants and slippers. Sarah and I joke about this. She works in high heels. I don't think they're comfortable. But we get to call clients all across the US, because now we don't have borders. I don't have to commute to somebody's home to sell these products or talk to them about their options. I get to do it either over Zoom, just like we are right now, or I call them over the phone. You can work different time zones, and you can work any state as long as you get your non-resident license there. Pretty cool option. In terms of supporting our agents, there are a ton of ways that this company just has laid out for us. We have a CRM and lead management system. I just went over the leads. We have a program in place or a platform that you log in, it's our CRM, and you purchase your leads. You can then take those leads, upload them into a dialer, and just plow through your production very quickly. We have marketing and recruiting support. Our marketing team is amazing. Any business I've ever been in, I've had to pay hundreds of dollars for a logo. You come here, you want a logo, you send a message to the marketing team and they'll create one for you for free. We have technology. Our company just put $20 million into this training platform called Quility. And if you come in here unlicensed and get through the licensing program and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I have no experience in the insurance industry, this training platform will take you from knowing nothing to being able to go out into the field and sell these products confidently. We have one-on-one mentorship. We have weekly training calls and webinars. Sarah and I host one of these once a month for growing our agencies and just helping spread the word to grow this company. We also have a huddle every single morning where as an agency we get together and we celebrate people from the previous week. We have trainings or guests, people from other agencies that come in and pour into us. And then we edify our own leaders within our organization to help get them comfortable sharing and preparing presentations. And it's a leadership development company. It's so fun. We also have local, regional, and national events. We're supposed to be in Denver in February, but COVID shut that down. So it's been postponed to this summer. We'll be in Denver in August. So if you are on here, brand new, licensed, not licensed, we'll mark your calendars for the end of August because we want to see you in Denver. We've built this business completely virtually. It's fun to actually get together in real life again. Excited for that. We also have industry leading insurtech tools. So I mentioned not coming here not licensed or maybe having no experience in this industry. You can come here, get through the training, get your hands on some leads, call a client and find out they're 46 years old, they chew tobacco, and maybe they have pre-diabetes. You can go into a website that was created that you plug in their information and it will populate a product that is best suited for them. So then you can go to that specific company, that product, and run quotes and be prepared to speak to your agent or your client about what their options are. So I have a nursing background. Calling these clients was very just new to me. Some of the medications I'd heard of before, some of the health diagnoses I've heard of before, but I did not have a clue in the insurance world. So it's awesome to have this platform for you. We also have a power dialer. That's where you take your leads and load them into the system and it will do the dialing for you. So you're not manually dialing those 9 numbers to call your client. It just takes the guesswork out of it. And so I went over virtual mentor, the dialer, and then there's also a website option. So you can come here and have a website that will funnel all potential clients or recruiting prospects directly to you. So again, we're not spending all of our time going out there and prospecting and marketing. We have systems in place to help you be successful right out of the gates. You will hear all the time that at Symmetry, we are a leadership development company and we happen to sell insurance. We have several programs in place that they're awesome. Connect is created for women. Meredith Ellison is one of the founders of that, and it's an Instagram page that you can go ahead and follow, and just helps women have a voice in the workplace and just be stronger and better together. The Thrive program, I say this all the time, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and this program is just set up to help you in mind, body, and spirit, so you're all in alignment when you're going out to run your business. And then there's an agency ownership academy. When you hit agency ownership, which we'll go over here in a minute, and why that's such a special title to have and place to be, is they created this leadership development course for agency owners, so we can be better leaders within our agencies. They're running these, I believe, once a year now, but they're creating more as we're getting back in person. And then coaching. Sarah and I came from a business coaching world, and we know that you are going to grow your business to the level that you've grown yourself. And this company is just so firm and standing behind that. They actually hire business coaches to help all of us become better agency owners and just better agents all around. We also have what's called Quality Member Services. I love QMS because these are trained, licensed agents that will go out and check in on our previous clients. So if I helped a client 18 months ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, these Quality agents will follow up with my original client and see if there's a need for more coverage. Maybe they sold the home and bought a new home. Maybe they had a baby. Maybe they've gone through a divorce. Maybe they're married. Whatever their life circumstance is, they will maybe find a need for more coverage. And if this agent writes a policy or any additional coverage, I will receive commission from that as the original agent. So this is just another massive passive income stream for us. I think last month I had a few $100s dropped in my account, and I'm like, what is this from? And it was from a QMS agent helping one of my previous clients. So cool that they have that. Sarah, how do we get paid here? I know you love these charts.
I do. I do love all the charts. I don't want to make the charts. I like when other people make the charts and I get to utilize them. Okay, so how do we get paid? This is important to know. If you look at that bottom black box down there, it says 70. We like to say you start at the beginning, not at the bottom. Just sounds better that way. So everybody starts here at a 70% commission, and you can climb all the way up that spine, all the way to the top. Commission level here is 120%. So whenever you cover a family and it's maybe $12 a month. So 12 times 12 would be 144 would be your annual premium. Or if it's $100 a month, it'd be $1,200 in annual premium. You get paid 70% of that as a new agent. I didn't major in math, but when Jamie and I first got here, we're like, we want to get paid 120% on what we sell. How do we get there fast? Can we skip steps? Jacob said no. So then we want to know the fastest route without skipping steps. So there's a couple different ways you can get to the top of the commission scales here. On the right side, or those gray boxes, that's the personal producer track. So if you have no interest in hiring, managing, onboarding, training new agents, then you can stay over here on the right side and you can personal produce your way all the way to the top of this company. So we have people that do it all the time. On the blue side is the owner's track. So over here, this is where you want to hire and build and train and onboard new agents and help them be successful as part of your job description. So you'll notice you really don't have to make a decision all the way up to about 90%, but to get to 95%, if you want to go on the builder side, you need to have about 5 other writers that you have started off and writing with you and issuing $30,000 a month to be an agency owner here. So that is issued business. So if everybody here is at 70, if you're just starting off, you have to issue 2,500 2 months in a row to get to 75%. And then to get to 80%, you'd have to issue 5,000 2 months in a row. So all of them are 2 months all the way to the top, except for those top 2 biggies. To get to 115 and 120 is a 3-month journey. This is where Jamie and I are working on right now. So let's look at a couple of examples. This is always where I wish I had a big like chalkboard, white marker board behind me. Let's look at this. Some of you may be working a full-time job somewhere else or a part-time job somewhere else, and you cannot jump into this full-time quite yet. We completely get that. We have lots of people that do their other full-time job until they can make the leap. So if you want to be a part-time agent, we're going to look at our example is part-time Paul. See him over there? I wonder if his name really is Paul. Can you imagine? Be awesome. I think so. So let's say part-time Paul is working 15 to 20 hours a week. And he's probably working most of the weekend. So he's working all week somewhere else and working all weekend with us. He's making 6 sales a month. And he's at that 70% contract level. And every sale on average is around $1,000 in annual premium. That's the average. It's crazy. If we have, 23 apps, we'll be at 23,000. It's so weird how it works. So for him, that 6,000 over here for the example, 6,000, that's because he sold 6 policies at 1,000 and times his 70% commission with my handy dandy calculator. So 6,000 times 0.70. His commission on that is $4,200. And the carriers meaning like Foresters, Mutual of Omaha, all the ones that Jamie introduced you to, they're so kind that they give us 75% of that up front. So you multiply 4,200 times 0.75. So that means that part-time Paul is going to be paid $3,150, $3,150 up front this month. He'll get the other 25% month 10, 11, and 12. It'll drop in his account. Once month 10, 11, and 12 drop in his account, that ends up being a $50,000 job for him, working very part-time hours. So part-time Paul is happy with his part-time job. So full-time Frida over there, she's got a little smug look on her face because she's very happy. So full-time Frida, she's working 30 to 35 hours a week, and she's making more like 15 to 20 sales a month. And she's at 85% contract level. So she's went from 70 to 75 to 80 to 85. So she's been here at least 8-9 months to be able to get up to that point. So 15 to 20 sales. For this example, we're saying 15 sales. So if we look at the example, 15,000, that's 15 sales times 1,000. Remember, because every sale is around 1,000. So we've put in our handy dandy calculator, 15,000 times 0.85, because that's her commission level. So that's $12,750 a month. Now the carriers give us 75% of that up front. So you would actually bring home $9,562. This is why she's got that smug look on her face. She's happy. So once month 10, 11, and 12 come around, it ends up being a $153,000 job. So we don't care if full-time Frida has 3 degrees or 2 degrees or 1 degree or any experience in insurance before. Anybody that wants to come and do the work and follow the system can do this exact thing here. So if you think back to that, that spine commission scale that I showed you, at that 95% mark, that's where you have the opportunity to become an agency owner here, which was, I mean, once Jamie and I really wrapped our heads around this, we're like on it, because it's very special that Symmetry does this. If you hit 95% in commission level and you have 5 writing agents and yourself issuing $30,000 a month, and you do that 3 consecutive months in a row, the company sends you a new contract. You're an agency owner. You can will it, you can transfer it, you can sell it. And I think probably most importantly, if you were to pass away, your spouse or loved one would have, I think it's 6 months to get your license, and they would be paid on the agency as long as it's alive. So if Jamie and I, neither one of us didn't come home, our husbands would get paid on this agency. And just in the last year and a half, we've built something that we believe will last forever, truly. And in fact, I think they would even grow faster if something happened to us, because they would want to take care of our families. It's just so special that way. And this program, they used to call the agency owners managers, and then they changed it to owners whenever they started this program. And it's because one of the managers passed away out in the field. He actually got out of his car on the highway, got hit, didn't come home from field work that day. And they didn't think it was fair that his wife didn't get paid on all of his hard work. So they started this program in his honor, and they've kept it ever since, which is pretty special. So our great-grandkids will be affected by this. And Jamie and I did this both last April and May. So it's been about a year since we signed that new contract. We would recommend everyone to try to get to that spot, because that ownership piece is really important. If you do want to build your own agency, here's 95% Nina. See her in a little circle there. So these are her writing agents she has over here. So she's got one that's at 90%, and one that's at 85%, and 80, and 80 is 75, and then brand new 70% Sally down there. So she's got her plus 6 more. She actually only has to have her plus 5 more to be an agency owner here. But she's got 6, overachiever. So her average spread, because the way that you get paid on overrides as you grow your agency here, whenever 90% up here, whenever she sells something, there's only a 5% difference in their commissions. So 95% Nina makes 5% off of anybody that's at 90. So it's just a matter of the difference. So if we look at what this looks like for her income, 95% Nina plus her team. So she's still out in the field. She did 15,000 on her own pen. She's still working it. And then she's got those 6 people did 35,000 total. Let's just see what that looks like for her. So on her own pen, that first line up there, 15,000, and she's at 95% commission. She's about halfway up, remember, and she gets 75% up front. She's making 10,000 on her own pen. This was a number that was very important for Jamie and I that we wanted to get to and be able to do on our own pen, no matter what our agency ever did. So this is kind of the number that you want to hit. Her agency is doing 35,000 total. Her average spread is 15%. So she's making an extra 4,000 because she's onboarding and training and working with her team to help them be successful. So once month 10, 11, and 12 comes around, it ends up being a $234,000 job for agency owner, 95% Nina on the slide before.
Did you make that as a teacher, Sarah?
I didn't, but I got like an etched pencil with my initials on it one year for Christmas. That was nice. It was about impact, Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Impact. So if you keep working your way up here, you can become an executive vice president with a $500,000 agency. And to give you an idea, Jamie and I, we have an agency that did $200,000 last month. So we're working towards this. We're not there yet. So once you get to a $500,000 agency, typically this executive vice president, we don't have a picture of him. I really wish we had one. I'm going to call him Eddie, executive vice president Eddie, that doesn't have a picture. He's not in the field anymore. So he's got 0 in personal production. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He gets to train and work with his agents for a living, which is something that I'm really looking forward to doing. He's got an average of 15% spread. This is what his agency looks like. He's got 3 agency directors to him and then agency owners below there and several other sales reps. Let's see what executive vice president Eddie, see what his bank account looks like. So no personal production anymore for him. He's got a $500,000 agency. He's bringing home $56,000 a month. And once a month, yes, that says 56. And we have lots and lots of friends doing this right now. Once a month, 10, 11, and 12 comes around, it ends up being a $900,000 job for him. That is definitely not too shabby. Goals, working on it. Also, if you remember at the top of that commission scale, when it says 120%, when you get to 120% and you help somebody else get to 120%, you get what's called an equity bonus. This is the sweet spot in this business, and I wouldn't give up until you get it. On average, those bonuses are $19,000 a month. The company gives away over $1 million in bonuses every single month. So if executive vice president Eddie also got an equity bonus, it would end up being $1 million job for him, a little over. He's happy. Also, lots and lots of ways to earn bonuses here. I won't go over all these. Once you become an agency owner, you can gather capital bonuses. Producer bonuses there at the bottom. Jamie's gotten a few of those over the years. Do you have to do 10,000 or 20,000, Jamie? Do you remember?
I think it's 10.
10,000 issued business. You get a producer bonus. There's all kinds of ways to get bonuses here. Okay, so earlier when I said, can we skip steps? And I asked Jacob and he said no. That was the truth then. But since then, they've come out with this fun incentive that started last August that's going through at least this coming up August, as far as we know, called Slingshot. I see Miss Jamie Cuppernell. She did Slingshot last month, which was so exciting. I know, she just got the news today. She's still on cloud 9. And what Slingshot means is that instead of having to do 2 months of 2,500, you can do 1 month of 5,000 to get to 75. Instead of doing 2 months of 5,000 to get to 80, you can do 1 month of 7,500 to get to 80. Instead of 2 months of 10,000, you can do 1 month of 12,500. Couple of reasons this is important. One, you also get a nice 10% bonus. So Jamie's looking at an $850 bonus on top of her commission last month, which will buy a couple of bottles of nice Cabernet, I think, Jamie Cuppernell. And the other cool thing is you can get to 85% in 3 months instead of 6, right? So it cuts the time in half, which is the reason you want to get to 85 quickly. You'd rather get paid 85% on what you're selling versus 70. Again, didn't major in math, but it's more. Second, if you are going to hire someone, you'd rather have a 15% override instead of a 0% override or a 5% override. So it just makes sense. And while they have this out there, it's going through at least August. I don't know if they'll extend it, but while it's available, I would take full advantage of that Slingshot option. Jamie and I are not jealous at all that you can do that.
So we also have other ways to earn money. It's just, I feel like Oprah with all these things you can earn money. We have what's called the carrier kicker. You can earn up to $1,000 per carrier just by writing with, you see them over here on the left, Mutual of Omaha, SBLI, Americo, and Foresters. There's also a hat trick bonus. Get 3 out of 4 carrier kickers in 90 days. They give you another 3,000. And then a destination kicker, 45,000 in your first 120 days here of issued business gets you a destination trip worth 8,000. So lots of ways to earn trips and money here. Other agent perks we have, if you qualify with your age and your health, you can get up to $400,000 in life insurance coverage for up to 30 years, totally paid for the first year by Symmetry. And then there's also health insurance options. I've been an entrepreneur for several years and have paid a lot of money out of pocket for health insurance. Once I found out about this end of last year, I contacted the rep, and I'm paying less than $400 a month for insurance for myself and that 18-month-old little girl that I mentioned earlier. So it's really half the cost of the marketplace, great coverage, same doctors I was going to before. So we do have options to get yourself health coverage as well. And then there are lots and lots of trips, like I mentioned before. There's the carrier sends you on trips like Mutual of Omaha, Foresters, SBLI. Then there's also Symmetry trips. And then we also had a trip to Cabo that just happened last month, which was so fun, just to sit in a cabana by a pool with just people who are successful and kind of fireside chats and figuring out how to best grow your business in the sun. I can't think of anything really better than that. This Puerto Rico trip down here on the right, you see the girl with the white off the shoulder. She earned so many trips that she had to just be selective on the ones she wanted to go on. Good problem to have. Sarah, who are we looking for?
You know, it's, people ask me this a lot, like, who do you hire? Who are you looking for? And I mentioned earlier, I don't care if you have any insurance experience. I sure didn't. And Jamie at least came in with some medical knowledge. She could understand and read some of the medications. I'm like, I'm Googling that. I don't know. So I didn't even have that. So we don't care about your background. We don't care about your degrees. We don't care about your age. We have 18-year-olds up to 75-year-olds. We don't care, you know, about any of that. What we're looking for here, are you willing to listen, take in information, follow your mentor's advice? Because that's what we get paid to do, is to mentor you to success. To tune into the trainings and be coachable and be a student of this craft. Are you willing to associate? This group is so good at that. We're so close. I'm telling you, it's crazy how close we are, even just through Zoom. And you got to plug into people, praise them, to encourage each other, get counsel often, find good mentors. Also working, right? We have people that come here from, you know, as an employee, and they've been made to work from 8 to 5, no breaks. And they come here and they have all this freedom. You've got to force yourself to work because you're self-employed, right? So, you know, Sarah Reineke, Jamie Susie, we're not going to be knocking on your door saying, let's go, let's get up. You got to do that on your own, right? So you got to be willing to work hard when no one's looking. And then the humility to ask the questions, you know, to get yourself moving. And then last, be willing to change. You know, we do a lot of personal development here, and I have to just say, nothing's mandatory in a 1099 world, but it's as important as it possibly could be. We talk every week about what we're reading. All of us are personal developing all the time, getting better, because you'll see whenever you meet a lot of the people who are super successful here, they have something in common. It's emotional stability. They all just present themselves well. So it's something that we all want to strive to do as well. So you got to willing to personal develop, and to be different, we've got to do different. So this is what we're looking for. So if this is something, if you're willing to work hard and plug in and lean into the system that they have provided for us, the momentum is there. This company is growing like crazy. We're having a ton of fun. Jamie and I will be here for sure. So if you are interested in something like this, talk to the person who invited you here today. We can answer more questions for you. But gosh, I just am so grateful that March 1st of 2020 that we said yes to this. It's changed everything for our family and for our family's future. And we're just so excited to be able to share it with anybody who wants to come and work with us. So
grateful for that FOMO. Thank you, Sarah, for calling me
You're
out.
welcome.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Just get back with who invited you. This is recorded. If you want a copy of it, or if you want to share it with your spouse, your friend, someone you're thinking of that this might be a good fit for, we'll be sure to get that in your hands as well. But have a great night. We'll stay on here for a few questions if you have any.